Hey y'all, today's video is going to be a little bit different, but it is crafting related in a roundabout sort of way, and hopefully you will find this interesting. For the next few weeks, I'm going to share a mini-series all about growing loofah gourds. Loofahs are a really unique plant whose fruit dries into a usable sponge. You've probably even seen these before, maybe in a store or at a farmer's market, and maybe you didn't realize they came from a plant, but yes, I grew this sponge. The sponges can be cut into usable lengths and used just as is, say for washing dishes or in the shower, but there's also a number of different DIYs and crafts that you can do with loofah sponges. For instance, you can flatten some loofahs and sew them to a piece of cloth, and you can create a wash rag where one side is fabric and soft and the other side is scrubby from the loofah. You can also use loofah in soap making and put them in the center of your soaps, and I'll link to some different DIYs for loofahs in the description below. Anyways, this is the first part of a 5-part mini-series. Today is going to be just kind of a brief overview introducing the topic, and I'll give a little sneak peek into my loofah growing process. Part 2 is going to be a really fun DIY for a structure you can build to grow your loofahs on. And then part 3 is going to be the really in-depth growing guide where I basically share my entire process from the 2021 growing season and give different tips and tricks and things I've learned along the way. Then in part 4, I'll go over some tips and tricks on how to know when your sponge is ready to be harvested. And in part 5, I'll share some different ways for harvesting the sponge. So let's take a brief look at the life cycle of a loofah plant. As with growing most things, loofahs start from a seed. Once they sprout, it takes them a little time to get going, but once they get growing, they can grow very fast. Once the plant feels established, it will start putting out flowers. Male and female flowers grow on the same plant, so one vine is able to pollinate itself. After the female flowers get pollinated, they will start growing the fruit, which is the loofah gourd. As time goes by, the gourds will grow bigger, the vines will grow longer, and there will be more and more of their beautiful yellow flowers. Then when the gourd is done growing, it will start to dry out. I usually don't let my loofahs dry all the way, so I usually peel while the skin is still yellow. To get to the sponge inside, I remove the outer skin. Then I shake out the seeds and rinse all the gunk off the sponge. I set the sponge in the sun to dry, and then it's ready to use. So I hope this video has you interested and excited about growing loofahs. Now I do want to mention I'm no gardening expert, I'm not any kind of loofah growing expert, I'm just someone who has figured out how to successfully grow loofahs in my backyard. And part of the point of this series is to show that if I can figure out how to grow loofahs, you can learn how to grow them too. And hopefully the different tips and tricks and the information I share will make the learning process a little bit easier for you. And for my crochet people, don't worry, I still have crochet content that I will be posting in between episodes of the loofah series. So everyone, stick around my channel and let's grow some loofahs. Happy crafting!